Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another MAMG Let's Play of Analogue, A Hate Story. When we left off, we were trying to override the terminal and keep the heat from being critical. Now, I kind of had to look at this to figure out what I'm supposed to do, because it's very weird. You have to disable a bunch of stuff, then you have to enable it and disable it again, so here's what I needed to do. I needed to disable everything so that the power mode was in low. Then I needed to disable or enable the bulkheads and the life support, and then apparently disable the bulkheads again. Atmosphere is being vented into space. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but the timer stopped. Let's see what she says. If anything, it'll give me an ending, right? You did it, you did it. The nuclear reactor is now both completely deactivated and at a safe temperature. We're safe, yay! Okay, awesome. I was pretty scared there for a moment. I mean, it's not that I didn't think you could. It's just the thought of actually dying for good was scary. It was scary. But you did it, and I'm fine now. Thank you so much. I'm sure you're breathing a little easier too, right? Well, that was close. I think we both really deserve a break from the serious business, don't you agree? Let me save first, because I'm not sure what's gonna happen. I did have to go back so that I had more time, because the last time I saved I was like 3 minutes into the reactor exploding. So I think I gave her the same responses when I was asking her the questions, but I'm not 100% sure. I guess we'll find out. No, let's dive into the serious business. Oh, well, fine. Serious business it is then. Oh, maybe that's not what I wanted to do. Let me reload that. I think I did that wrong. I mean, it's right here. Very much so. I thought so. Whew, really? My word, that was a close call. Maybe she'll open up more that we've escaped this narrow death, I guess. There's actually something I've been thinking about for a while that I wanted to ask you about. Here we go. And, well, I had sensors working before. I've seen your ship. I know it's only big enough for one person. It sounds awfully remarkable that you could have a ship like that just for yourself. I just mean, in my time, we were using generation ships, and that was incredibly state-of-the-art. So, is that normal? Do you do this all the time? Go on strange adventures by yourself in deep space? Sure. Wow, that's really amazing. Remarkable, really. See, when I found out I was gonna get put into stasis to wake up far later, that was the future I always dreamed about. One that was full of amazing things like, I don't know, holograms, miracle medicine, ships that travel faster than light, colonies on other planets. That's sort of amazing. I mean, I've never liked science fiction, it's just too unrealistic. But when I was a kid, I figured it'd still be fun to live in it. Imagine my surprise. But it sure sounds like you're from that future. Oh, sorry, I'm rambling, aren't I? It's just the idea of finally getting that perfect future that I was denied, traveling with someone in deep space. Well, that sounds awfully romantic. Sorry, I'll stop now. Let's get back to the serious business. Here we go. Okay, I don't mind that though. Okay, so question 5. Did we get this far? How old are you? What do you really look like? We already asked her that, so wait, do I have a question 4? Okay, here we go. How old are you? Isn't that the one question you're never supposed to ask a woman? Jeez, so rude. Well, I was born in the year 2415, then was put into stasis for I don't know how long. Then I lived for another 3 years and died about 622 years ago, at the age of 16. So, you tell me how old I am. I don't know. Really, I don't think it matters at this point, does it? Probably not. Okay, why are we asking this? How do you feel about mute? Oh, of course. Of course that'd be one of her questions. Well, let me put it this way, I suppose. Did she have anything nice to say about me? No, not really. That's what I thought. Really, I don't know much about her, other than what I've read in other people's logs. She never talked to me, ever. I mean, she wasn't above talking about me, but no, never anything to me. That's all I know about her. She's a gossip. I don't even want to speak to her now. It's okay, I shut her AI off, so we can't. Why couldn't you just settle for a happy marriage? It's not like I ever thought as a child I would never marry. You tell me though, could you marry someone you'd only talk to once? Once? That'd be a bit rough. Well, then maybe you shouldn't be judging me for it. It's not like it's my fault. We both read the same logs. I wasn't the only person on the ship to be crushed by a horrible marriage. Maybe I could have done unspeakable things with our servants, like Osojin did. Is that what Mute meant by a happy marriage? Sorry, I'm not usually this sarcastic. I just don't think it's a fair question. The two older Kim sisters, you should read their letters. Here, I'll show you. They had it just as bad. It's a really unfair question to ask. I'm sorry. I'm just doing what I've been told. Did you have any friends? Why did you kill all those people? Okay. After waking up from stasis, I only ever had one single friend. Oh, two, I meant, now that you're here. Aw, that's sweet. Anyway, before it was just her. The queen, my husband's wife, Ryu Jaehwa. I wrote about her a lot in my diary. I'll just show you. It's probably better if you read it for yourself. These are from right after I got married. Okay, do we want to ask her about killing all these people? I'm gonna save before I do. I'm curious. Look, there's something you need to understand first. After waking up from stasis, I only ever had one single friend. Oh, yeah, I know, you already said this. Before it was just her. The queen, yeah. Okay. She didn't answer my question. Okay, whatever. Let's read some more, I guess. Letter to, Sunhee. Okay. Dear Sunhee, I wish we had more of a chance to talk before I left. I'm sorry it was so sudden. Not my choice, please believe me. It's really weird living in someone else's house. Even just like the place itself, you know? The walls of the house are way smaller. There aren't even separate women's quarters. It's pretty much just paper dividers separating us from the men most of the time. You can see and hear everything. It's so very weird. Also, there's a lot more to do around the house. If you thought mom was strict, wow. Mother-in-law makes her seem positively gentle in comparison. I know, I'll just have to get used to it. But she kinda scares me. Plus, we don't have any servants here at all, so I have to handle pretty much all the chores. I'll try to write to you regularly though, so long as I can find the time. Mother-in-law keeps me pretty busy during the day with housework, and my husband keeps me pretty busy during the night with other work. Okay, it's pretty much chores all day, every day, but I'll try to sneak in another letter soon, alright? With love from your older sister, Yunmi. Okay? Second letter. Should I show her these? Maybe in a minute here. Dear Yunmi, I wish I could have found time sooner, but if you say you're busy, fine, I believe you. Things aren't very interesting at home. Mom's been really busy lately. I think she's in a big hurry to get me married. I wish she wasn't. How come? You didn't have to do interviews until you were 14? Lucky. One of them seems nice though. I think the man's name was O? I talked to his mother about you for a little bit. Don't remember what brought it up, but I told her about the dolls you left me. The second interview we did. She brought me one of hers from when she was my age and said I could keep it. Interviews suck, but I really think I'd be fine with marrying her son. I mean, if I really have to. She sounds better than your stupid mother-in-law. Love, Sunhee. Alright, dear Yunmi, thanks for being able to come to my wedding, even if it was just for a day. Don't worry about what mom said about you not having kids yet. You shouldn't have take that personally. I was really happy to see you again, since I wasn't sure if I ever would. I love you, big sister. Sorry for bothering you with this so soon after we spoke, but I really need you to answer something for me. I don't have anyone else to ask, and I'm really worried about something. It's really embarrassing, but I have to know. The night I moved in, my husband and I slept together. I'm not ignorant about how it's supposed to work. I know why. Afterwards, my husband said that everything was fine and that I shouldn't worry, but it really hurt a lot. I was crying the whole time. He injured me so much, there was blood everywhere. I know I'm not supposed to question him, but that's not normal, right? Should I insist on seeing a doctor? He seems nice besides that, I just don't understand. What should I do, big sister? Love, Sunhee. Aww. Yeah, you should finish the rest first. You can see for yourself how things turned out. Okay. Just us wives, huh? Alright. I guess it's been forever since I've cared enough to write anything down. I just haven't seen much point. Since my last entry, I got married, moved into the palace, and lost my virginity. Apparently for a girl my age, none of these things are really all that weird. The queen finally insisted on talking to me the night after I slept with dearest husband. I'd been expecting it. My sister warned me that she would probably be jealous, and I just have to endure it. She outranks me, and I would simply have to kowtow to her if need be. I haven't had to yet though. We had tea together, and she at least has started by acting friendly. I'm sure sister was right. I'll get the brunt of her anger soon enough. But today she was friendly. How are you holding up? She asked me after we finished with tea. I shrugged. Do you trust me? I know how hard it can be for a newlywed. I've been through it myself, but I was at least older. You probably miss your family, do you not? That's what would be expected from any good girl. So, I nodded. It gets easier with time. I had no response. I'm sorry, am I bothering you? You can leave if you wish. I simply thought you might like some company. I wasn't sure how to respond to that either. I just clasped my hands and shook my head. I just wanted to be sure, she said. There was a long pause that followed. Finally, she asked, how was last night? It surprised me that she was willing to bring up the subject, figuring that it was a segue into her being vindictive towards me for sleeping with her husband. I shrugged as she continued. I know he can be rough. Nobody ever talked about those duties with me. Then she smiled, and I felt almost like I could drop my guard. I had no idea what to expect my first time. Do believe me, I'm not jealous. That is nothing to be jealous of, but do tell me how it was. It made me think back on last night. Honestly, it was the best night I've ever had since I've waken up in the future. Everyone, my mother, my sister, and now my queen, warned me that it would be bad. It would be a duty and nothing more. But honestly, I did love it. I would have let him keep me up all night if he had the energy for it. Okay? I guess while I was thinking about all that, I let out a slight smile. I caught myself, but not before she noticed. Oh, did you enjoy it then? She asked, touching my arm. I jumped. Please, please, be at ease. That is perfectly alright too. So long as you know it's just for him. There's absolutely no shame for that. There is none. I expected her to jump into something passive aggressive from that, but she didn't. All she did was change the subject and said she was really worried about me. Maybe she isn't so bad. Alright, dear diary, attending to my husband has been easier than I was afraid it would be. Yes, there's days when it requires more strength than usual to keep going. I'm still getting increasingly more sick. Nothing changes that. But it's not so bad, really. All I have to do is dote on him and try to anticipate his desires, and he's happy with me. No abuse or anything. Sure, it's not as if I like him. He's an ugly 40-year-old man who cares only about politics and never tells me anything. Love, well, that's certainly no concern. I don't know where I've ever got the impression that something that could happen in, I never got the impression that was something that could happen in a marriage. I thought it was something from the past, but, well, I was young before I got put into stasis. It must have been a mistake of childhood. But so long as I do as I'm told, I'm never mistreated, like I was my sister. And sleeping with him feels good. I really hope I don't get pregnant soon. I don't want that to stop. Doing that is really the only thing that makes me actually happy these days. Well, that and Jaehwa's talks with me. She's nice. She keeps me company when I stay up to wait for his return. She fetches servants to take me to bed on those days I'm too feverish to sit for too long. And she just talks to me, as if I'm a friend. I don't really understand why, but I guess she really doesn't hate me after all. Do let me tell you, she said one evening, while she brushed my hair. I always wanted a little sister growing up. That's how I think of you. Does that make sense? I shrugged. It was nice of her, and it felt so relaxing to let her touch my hair like that. She wasn't waiting for a response anyway. By now, she knows better. She just keeps talking kindly to me. Okay. So now what? What can I do for you? I mean, we just read all the things, didn't I? Or did I not? I guess I'll show her one of these and see what she says. So you can see, she was kind. She was good to me. She really was. I take it you want to know more about my marriage then. What are you interested in? I guess Jehua. Then you're in luck. She's in all of these entries. Well, she was really the only thing in my life worth writing about for the most part. There's one in there that she wrote about herself and her husband, and you can see for yourself, she's a lot stronger than I ever was. So you can see for yourself why I admired her. And, well, just read them, alright? Okay? Sure. Where are they? Illiterate. Okay, the more she lives in my house, the more I'm confused by the mystery that is the Pale Bride. No wonder why my husband has been favoring the Kim family lately. Their daughter seems to be the perfect woman. She's not simply the pale beauty, she's also too shy to speak at all, let alone argue. She seems to hang off of his every word, and it turns out, is so actually completely humble in her education that she cannot even read. Or rather, she cannot read normal characters. I've observed her writing herself, in perhaps what may be a diary. When asked what it was, she wouldn't say, but was quick to hide it. I could not recognize a single character on her screen, however. They seem simplified compared to regular writing. Perhaps she has invented a writing system for just herself. No, she's using traditional Korean. It's very strange. Did you ever receive those letters I sent to your house before you arrived? I asked her, curious. Seemingly, she had. Did you read them? Her response was worried, as if she was scared I would be angry to find out that she hadn't. I was not, of course. I'm sorry. I had assumed. Are you able to read? That was when I found out that she wasn't. I offered to read them to her, to which she seemed quite enthusiastic. I think I am likely to leave out some parts, however. I had enough difficulty bringing myself to writing the more embarrassing parts of the family history. Bringing myself to talk about them, even if I know she would never say anything, is just far too much. Like all things with her, I cannot tell whether her enthusiasm is sincere or an effort to make her happy. This troubles me. Okay, so yeah, this is another one from The Pale Bride. Dear Diary, I've been thinking about how close my death must be now. Lately I've been getting prone to fainting spells. It probably goes right along with my diminishing appetite. If the doctor from the past was right, I've got over a year left to live, maybe more. He said it wasn't very likely to get bad enough to kill me until I was at least 18. Although maybe all those years in stasis might have changed that. I don't know. But if he was right, and I haven't lost track of time, I'm 16 and a half right now, so there's still a while. I've been trying to hide the signs of sickness. Even if I could explain, I know full well that nobody would believe me. So far, hiding it has been mostly working. Although I did have one of my fainting spells while my husband was on top of me. He wasn't angry at me though. I don't think he cared. I know all I write about these days is sex with my husband and conversations with his wife. The Kim family would be proud, I guess. But those two things are all that's really worthwhile in my life. I have other responsibilities, of course, they're just not that interesting. And that's about it. Anyway, the queen has continued to be nice to me. She finally figured it out. When we were having tea one afternoon, she was talking about nothing in particular and asked me a question that I just shrugged to. I hope you don't take this the wrong way, she then said, but there is something I would like to ask you. I nodded. I don't think I've ever heard your voice before. I nodded again. Why don't you ever speak to me? Are you just saving that for the Emperor? I didn't know how to respond. She was so close to getting it, to bringing up the subject I wasn't able to. Yet that wasn't the right question, so I shook my head, and hoped to her that the next question would be. It was. Then, Hyun-ae, she said uncertainly, are you mute? I felt like screaming yes at the top of my lungs. I was so happy that she'd finally figured it out. I smiled and was about to nod enthusiastically, but suddenly I stopped. What if she thought less of me if I said yes? If she knew the reason I was so quiet and demure wasn't because of any sort of discipline. Those were the things people liked about me. Would she stop liking me if she knew? What if she told my husband? I was so terrified, I couldn't think of any correct answer. If I said no, I'm sure she would have asked to hear what my voice sounded like, and I'd be forced to obey. And if I nodded, then she'd know I wasn't really just trying hard to be a good wife, and I'm sure she would talk to my husband about it, so he'd know too. But while I stared at her in terror, thinking about how to respond, she sighed and sipped her tea. Don't worry about it, she said. You do not have to answer. Please, do forget that I even asked. So, she's mute as well. Why did she have to die? Okay. My concern over the Pale Bride's condition has grown lately. She seemed to grow even quieter, if such a thing is possible for a mute girl. Well, perhaps saying she is mute is an assumption too far on my part. I tried asking her directly, but it seemed she was too scared to answer. That simply makes me more suspicious. That is why I would like to know why. She addressed my husband on the matter, telling him that I wish to speak to the woman. My reading abilities. I addressed my husband on the matter, telling him that I wish to speak to the woman of the Kim family house to see if I couldn't find out what is wrong. He shrugged me off, saying, "Don't. They're valuable subjects. The son is someone I have my eye on in particular. The politics of this situation are far too delicate for you to be meddling with." I cleared my throat. He might be both my husband and emperor, but I would not let that stop me from being bold. "My dear husband, I don't care," I said flatly. "I am worried about the girl, and I believe that talking to her mother might shed some light on the matter. The son is of no concern to me." "I don't see why it matters. She's a perfect woman." "Why? Are you jealous?" he said, rolling his eyes at me. A gesture that's he's only been able to use on me and his servants ever since becoming the emperor. Nobody had the patience for it when he was a child. I don't have it now, either. "Inho, dearest, do you believe that the well-being of our wife is a political matter, or even an external matter?" I asked. He didn't. "So, would you say it's a domestic matter?" I asked. He reluctantly agreed. "Then, as a domestic matter, it is the responsibility of the woman of the house, is it not? Please, tell me. You are obviously more well-read in the classics than I said, both of us knowing he wasn't. "Fine," he said. "But just because it is your responsibility does not mean I can't overrule you." He left silent the follow-up. "I don't have to take this from you." "You do know that my concerns are valid, though," I replied. "If you value my opinion, you will let me speak to the Kim mother." There was a pause. Then he raised his hand in annoyance. "Very well, do it. It's women's business. I don't want a part in it regardless." Then he just shook his head. "Why must all our conversations be arguments?" I smiled to him and left. He already knows the answer. Okay? Dear Diary, you always forget how terrible it is to cry yourself to sleep until it happens. Until it's the ultimate feeling of helplessness. But what's new there, right? I just miss her. Even if she scared me, I miss her so much. Jaehwa was the only one who was sympathetic to me. Why did she have to die? Is that my fate? Anything that makes whatever short life I have bearable must go. Fate must hate me, I decided. I don't know what killed her. I overheard one of the servants saying that the doctor claimed it was too much worry, causing an excess of wood in the spleen. What? What she claimed was common in oversensitive women. I was baffled by the absurdity at the time, and I still am now. My only friend is dead, and her diagnosis is absolutely insane. What do you even say to something like that? I guess it's not like I needed to worry about knowing what to say, but in light of it, it doesn't surprise me that nobody ever believed I was sick. With medicine that's stupid, why would they? All it does is reinforce how hopeless everything is. I just constantly wonder, why did my father, or my own doctor, think that people would be smarter in the future? That medicine would be better? My servant has been helping me get through all the funeral stuff. Well, I mean, she's been guiding me through the rites. Practically doing them for me, really. I'm so weak and so stunned. I don't even know what I've been getting, how I've been getting out of bed. I couldn't describe any of the ceremony. It's all a blur. There's been lots of black dress, I suppose. That's my only impression, and crying. Lots of crying from me. Okay, what's she have to say? Look, please, do you trust me? I'll try. Please understand my position at the time. My world was so small, and I just lost my only friend. And then I'll give you my last 2 diary entries. They have the whole story. Just please don't judge me while you read them. Please. Okay? Her last 2 diary entries, huh? Back to hell. 7 pages? Dear Diary, this sounds pathetic to say. I've tried rewriting this a million times just to make it sound less pathetic for me, and I simply cannot. There were 2 things that made life worthwhile. 2 things that made this last year before I die bearable. The first was Jaeha's company. being the one person that was friendly to me. The second is sharing a bed with my husband. For the past few months, that's what I've been saving all my energy for. That brief, precious half hour every few nights where I feel fulfilled. If only the most literal sense. It's the most lovely feeling, and now I'll never feel it again. The two things making my last year of life worth living gone forever. In the past few nights, I've been trying to get the Emperor's affection in any way, pleading silently for his affections with no luck. On the fourth, or was it fifth day, he finally took me aside and said, in painful annoyance in his voice, "Enough. Stop that. It is completely inappropriate. You're supposed to be in mourning. Show some chastity. Or do you have no respect for my wife and your queen at all?" He snapped. When I looked confused, he just lectured me. I cried and he sighed. He held me gently, then left the room. I haven't spoken to him since, but later that day, my servant came to my room with good news. I was about to go visit my family for a couple months, while the house is in mourning for Jaehwa. I couldn't argue, of course, even if I was able, so just like that, I was sent back to hell. I was dressed in the usual veil, so nobody would see my face, and I was escorted back to the Kim house in the middle of the night. Mother and father were there, briefly to greet me, and in spite of how I felt about them, I put on my bravest smile and bowed, and nodded politely to their questions about how I was doing. Then, when they had to go to bed and left, leaving me alone with my sister. Young Suk was nowhere to be seen. "Okay, hi," she said. I never thought you'd end up visiting us again so soon." I shrugged. "Well, let's have some tea. It's just still us around," she said. I nodded. It seemed like a good enough idea. There was a pause. "Well, go make it," she snapped, removing any doubt that she might treat me with any sort of friendliness. Okay. Of course, I made the tea. I didn't disobey her anymore. "Thanks," she said. "So Young Suk is out, attending an official business at the moment, but you should avoid him. He's still angry at you because a father-in-law finds you more important to the family than his own son. Can you blame him?" I had no idea what she was talking about, and she continued. "So you really shouldn't talk to him. Oh, I guess you can't really do that, can you?" Well, you know what I mean. Yes, I knew exactly what she meant. "I'm surprised you're back so soon, though, especially now that you don't have to share your husband. Does that mean you're the primary wife now?" I didn't know. "Does that make you queen? Oh, what a great fortune you have. A father-in-law must be so proud of you." I stared at her, wishing nothing more than to be able to kill her through sheer force of rage. How could she possibly say something so awful? My only friend was dead, and here she was, taunting me? What an awful thing to do. But I couldn't hate her to death, no matter how much I tried. So instead, I tried holding back angry tears, to hide my weakness. I couldn't do that either. Dear Diary, it was all too feverish to do any real cooking, or I was far too feverish to do any cooking, so my servant was doing all the work for me that night. When father came in, I think he was drunk, or maybe just tired, or stupid. "You know, child," he said to me, "you grew up to be a wonderful daughter." I was shocked to hear him say that and waved my servant out of the kitchen. I'd never heard even the slightest indication of that before. For the briefest moment, it made me happy to hear that. That surprised me, that I actually felt that way. As a kid, I never wanted his approval, so why now? He continued to make me wonder when he asked, "Do you remember what you were like like as a child?" I nodded, but I wasn't certain I did. "You were so temperamental. You argued all the time. You didn't even want to get married when the time came. You just didn't ever know your place, you know?" "That's right, I didn't. That was back when I thought there was a point to being defiant." Why was that, I wondered. That's the part that amazes me now. I tried to think of a reason why I might want to be defiant, while I valued independence, and at first I couldn't even think of anything. I'd forgotten entirely. "Don't yell at Yusuk. But it really scared me. You were always the family's best hope for prosperity, but that attitude of yours, I thought I'd never managed to disavow you of those crazy, uncivilized ideas of yours," he said, while I tried to think of what they were. "There were times I thought it was a mistake to have hatched you, but you came through. You really did. I know it must have been painful, but I'm proud of you." Then he patted me on the head. "You turned out to be a good girl." That's all I wanted to say. It was hard raising you to be a proper woman, but you've turned out to be perfect. Thank you, he said. I stared, speechless, and tried to remember what crazy uncivilized ideas was he talking about. Thinking back to those days, or back to before I was frozen. I tried to remember. I had dreams of what adulthood would be, but they were so unimaginably different from what reality turned out to be that they seemed impossible. Completely impossible. Nothing more than childhood fantasies without a shred of realism to them. I tried to think of what they were, to imagine them. In those dreams, I was strong, independent. I wasn't just a wife in those dreams. I had a job, working as a ship's engineer, following in the footsteps of my father, my real father. I wasn't married in those dreams. I was happy to go on dates with boys my age, in the ship's plaza, and fall in love before making any commitments. I dreamed of being free. The more I thought about it, the more I was certain. That's what those dreams were about. That's what I wanted. But Father, Kim Junsu, rather, had made sure to disavow me of those notions. I learned to stop arguing, to stop trying to fight, to stop dreaming of those things. In other words, I learned how to be a proper woman, and he was proud of that. Proud of destroying my dreams. And now I would die, under the house of that man, silenced, broken, helpless, and unloved. I was overwhelmed by the strongest feeling I'd ever felt in my life. The deepest bitterness, the most powerful resentment I could imagine. I looked at the knife near my hand and wondered, could I kill him? Before I died, could I have at least some justice? I tried to lift the knife. My hand twitched. It was all too hard to keep a grip. I was just too weak. I'd never be able to do it. He smiled at me and said, sorry. Please, go ahead and keep cooking. I won't distract you anymore. Then, as he was about to get out the door, he added, take care of yourself. At that moment, I vowed that I would. I wouldn't worry anymore about all those people who had hurt me. I'll take care of myself. If I couldn't stab him, I was too weak for that. But then I remembered, there were other ways. If I disable life support, I can kill him, and all the others too. It'd be quick, it'd be easy, and not one of them don't deserve it. All I'd need to do is disable it in the admin password. It's perfect. Oh, so that's how she killed them. Well, so, there you are then. Now you know. It's true. I did do what she said I did. I'm not gonna lie. I really wish you'd never met her. I wish you'd never said anything to you. I just thought it was so nice the way things were with us before. Things started out so well. I got to be cheery for the first time in my life since I was a child. Talking about actual romantic things together. Having fun with cosplay. And just, you know, having someone there to talk to. Someone who wasn't interested in shutting me up. But now, well, please, you've read my diary. You have to know it's not... You have to understand, right? Even if you think what I did was wrong, I've never been dishonest with you. Fine, I lied about being an AI, but I told you the truth. I could have deceived you, but I didn't. Please, you still trust me, right? I'd never really lie to you. Not seriously. You don't have to think what I did was acceptable, but please tell me you trust me. We are, but I'm gonna go ahead and save now. Okay. You do? Really? Oh my word. I mean, of course, I'm sorry. I should have had faith in you. I really should have. I'm really bad at this. But thank you. Thank you so much. I can't believe I even doubted you for a second. Look, that means a lot to me. It means so much. I mean, I'm sure what I did wasn't right, I know. But I'm sure you don't think it was. I just want you to understand, alright? For someone I'm in love, what? For someone as good to me as you've been, I want you to at least please understand. You don't have to forgive me, just hear me out. Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're a really good person. Much better than me. Thank you. Then, very well. It's probably just better if I show you. There's a data block that contains all the logs that matter, but my family encrypted it because, well, it should be obvious why after you read it. You need to drop the terminal and type decrypt block 7. Let me know once you've done that and I'll show you. Okay. I think we're gonna decrypt it, but I guess we're not gonna be able to go to another episode? Okay, block successfully decrypted. Very well. These are really hard for me to read. I haven't seen mine since I wrote them, and I haven't seen my family's, well, ever. Well, I think I found... Here, I've added some. Just, please, read them. If you want to know the whole story, those entries will explain. Whew. Alrighty, so block 7. Oh, no, I don't need to do this. Sorry. I can't even type. Okay, so block 7. Let me just look and see. Because I'm guessing there's quite a few of them. Okay, so there's 4 of them here. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do this next time. I don't know how long this episode's gonna be because I was filming prior to me getting the unlock and everything, so hopefully it's a decently long episode. I do believe we're going to be close to the end very soon, so hang tight for that. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next M&J. Let's play. This is really bad. Please, you have to figure out something to deal with the excess heat. I'm already suffering from serious damage. I'm not going to make it. My word, it feels like it did when I was alive. I feel like I'm dying. Please, you have to do something. We have 7 seconds. There's no way. There's no way. It's over. It's over. I did not realize that this game was gonna make me do this.